What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Dak 908, aka the Dig Dug himself. And ladies and gents, we have to make a. I have to go back. Now, I know you guys were seeing that I was making the Elder Dragon videos. That's what those are called, Elder Dragons. But someone pointed out to me, yo, Dak, you forgot to make Zinogre. I was like, damn, I did forget to make a Zinogre video. So even though that video could have been useful a long time ago, now we're in Elder Dragons. Everyone's already done with this game. Why am I still making these videos? Anyway, every video is somebody's first video, you know? Everyone picks up the game at some point in their life, whenever, and that's what these videos are for. They're here to help people who need it now and then later. So, with that being said, we're going to look at Zinogre. I forgot to do Zinogre because, truth be told, Zinogre is one of my least favorite monsters of all time. I'm not going to go into reason as to why, but I don't hate him as much as I hate Elatron because, I don't know, it's just not as much. Elatron is a different breed. Anyway, Zinogre made his debut in Portable Third. If you don't know what Portable Third is, it's okay, because it was the Japanese exclusive third generation game. In that particular game, we were actually shown the Yakomo village. That was the main village in that game. It was essentially the same as Tri. Closer to maybe 3 Ultimate, because a lot of the monsters that actually appeared in 3 Ultimate first appeared in 3 Portable Third, if you will. Portable Third, yeah. But Zinogre was the flagship monster for that particular game, so he is very coveted. A lot of people like him. He's a lot of people's favorite monster of all time, or at least their top 5, top 3, top 2 even. However, for me, he's like top 5 least favorite, as opposed to top 5 favorite. But we're not going to get into that. I will say this about Zinogre: he is a respectable monster. There's a lot of things about him you should totally like, and there's a lot of things about him that's actually really, really good, and a lot of people like him for these very good reasons. I cannot, even as much as I hate him, I cannot knock the abilities that he actually has, the fight that he actually provides, and the skills and uniqueness that he brings to the table when fighting monsters similar to him. Truth be told, he is like the most unique Fang Wyvern like ever. There is no other monster like him. Pause for dramatic effect, but there really isn't. I mean, honestly, out of all the monsters I've ever fought Monster Hunter, when you really come down to it, how many monsters are like Zinogre? None. He's like the only dog we have. Okay, he's technically a Fang Wyvern. There's tons of Fang Wyverns now, but does he share the same skeleton as others? I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure how the particular skeleton works. Just know that he's the only dog type monster we have in the game, and he's super unique, so all of his abilities are unique to himself. So, with that being said, a lot of his attacks that he actually has protrude a lot of electricity. When it comes down to it, though, the one thing you really need to watch out for is his speed and his power. There's other monsters out there that's faster than him, and there's monsters that's stronger than him. But when you put those two skills together, those two typings together, he's probably the highest in that regard. Monsters like Nargacuga and Barioth, they are kind of fast, but they don't really hit that hard. Zinogre isn't as fast as Nargacuga, maybe about as fast as Barioth, but he hits much harder than both of them. He has a lot of really cool attacks, and he can combo a lot of these attacks into other attacks as well, which makes him relatively difficult. Like his hand slams into a tail flip, into a backdrop, into a wake-up tail flip. He does so much, okay? So, with that said, understand that when you go to fight Zinogre, you really need to watch out what you do. He has a plethora of attacks that can actually come out and reach you if you try to stay far away. And if you want to get up close, he can try to like really run you down with a lot of his charging attacks, and also his actual charge attack. Let's talk about that quite briefly. So Zinogre can charge himself up. He can howl at the moon or the sun, whatever, depending on the time of day, and he will gain electricity around his body. Now, the electricity he actually gets is from Vulgar. They're from bugs. There's actually bugs that's they have bugs on his back. If you knock a Zinogre over and have a bug net, you can come up to him and actually capture bugs off of his back, which you can use to make his armor and weapons. But regardless, though, he uses this, he howls, charges electricity. He can actually charge it into 3 different stages. His main stage, well, the last stage is the only stage we need to truly and earnestly worry about, because that particular stage is when he's known as fully charged and ready to go. He can do a plethora of different attacks out of the state, and with this fully charged state, he can actually toss a lot of those bugs from his body. When he shoots those little electrical balls, that's actually the bugs being shot out at an aggressive speed. So when fighting Zinogre, you want to get him to be in his base form as often as possible, so that way he's not fully charged up and ready to go and do a whole lot of extra damage. On top of being in his fully charged state, he can actually get angry and get enraged. When he's fully charged and enraged, watch out. I mean, his electricity turns blue, and he's super crazy, and he's ready to like destroy the universe. So He's very, very difficult to fight when he's like that because he is super tough as is, and when he's in this super charged up state, it makes it a lot more difficult to actually handle him. Now, speaking of this charged up state, when he is charging or when he is not quite fully charged, if you lay down a shock trap, he will use the energy given from the shock trap to fully charge himself. So do not use shock traps when you go to when you go to trap my man's right here. Don't do it, okay? You'll just fully charge him and it's not pretty because you're just giving him the free charge, alright? Don't do it. Use pitfall traps. They last longer anyway. And I guess with that being said, let's talk about his weaknesses. Very straightforward stuff. His main weakness is ice followed by water. Now, obviously, if you want to do the most damage, you have to hit him in the head. And funnily enough, he's actually more susceptible to gunfire than any other weapon typing out there. So if you are a gunner, shoot him in the head, you do more damage than anyone else if you have like ice shots or something like that. Speaking of ice shots, let's talk right about his gear. So the Zinogre's gear is pretty solid. His armor is for people who really like stamina management or don't like to manage stamina a whole lot and rather just have unlimited stamina and just kind of go nut buttery with it. People who are more akin to maybe dual blade users in this particular game, I would recommend it to. Yeah, dual blade users and the like. Regardless, here we go. Latent power, crit element, and ice resistance down. That's the high rank skills. Now, what latent power does is after a set amount of damage is given to you, you actually get an increase to your stamina and I believe your affinity once you get into latent power 2. Speaking of latent power 2 is on the high rank Zinogre joint along with crit element. Now making over to the EX Zinogre joint, you get 12 points in latent power and chain crit, which is really cool because it's still latent power plus 1, but with chain crit, the more attacks you do in quick succession, you get a higher infinity increase anyway. So on top of that, that's very, very good. You get stamina and you get affinity. But moving over to the Zinogre X joint, you get latent power to crit I1 and crit element, but in my opinion the best is the GX. You get 14 points in latent power, add one tiny decoration in there, and you get latent power plus 2, and then on top of the fact you still get chain crit and constitution that actually sets back the amount of stamina which is actually consumed when you do certain actions like dodge, roll, block, guard, etc., that kind of thing. In my opinion, a very, very, very versatile set for a bit meta for the critical element and also for the stamina management savvy people like myself. But his gear, his armor, it's decent tier. His weapons, however, are also decent tier. Needless to say, I'm gonna say this: his weapons, the numbers for them are pretty bland. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush here. He is a flagship monster. Okay, he's the flagship of affordable third, like we spoke about before. So he has a particular weapon in every category. Now, he also has hyper weapons. These are the only weapons that's really notable of actually speaking about, and his only real notable weapon at all is his hyper heavy bowgun. All of those random regular stuff, they're regular smegler. Literally, they all max out at 320 attack with about 30 thunder and some white sharpness, and with sharpness plus 2 you get some purple sharpness. It's bland, it's boring. I mean, there's no slappy attack. The element is pretty good. I mean, 30 is a nice number, but nothing really to call home about. But his heavy bowgun hyper is the slaptastic slapper. Okay, it's very good. A lot of people like to either use it or the Kush heavy bowgun, but the difference between the two is the fact you don't have to fight Kush. And if you don't like Kush like myself, it makes it a little bit easier. Then again, I mean, I gotta fight Zinogre, so I probably might fight Kush. But the one thing this Zinogre heavy bowgun has over the Kush heavy bowgun is a bit more versatility. Now, both of these guns tend to have a lot of the same shots. However, the Zinogre heavy bowgun has a few more that might be what you were looking for. So in siege mode, what I've learned is that the heavy bowgun that the Zinogre owns actually sieges parashot level 2s and has internal slicing ammo, which are pretty cool. And from what I understand, the Kush doesn't necessarily have all the good joints that it does. So honestly, there's a few different shots that this weapon itself actually has within certain types of modes, being siege and otherwise. And on top of the fact it has like no deviation, which is also very, very good set for bowgun users as well. So I mean, it really depends. If you're able to get one or the other, I would probably recommend you get the Zinogre joint. However, if you get the Kush one, you're still going to be fine. Honestly, it's just going to take a tad more finesse, and you're going to lose a smidget more versatility. Because I mean, para level 2 shots are pretty nice to have, but then again, you know, para 1 shots aren't too bad themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Douglas and Diggets, and everyone in between, this is everything I can really tell you about the Zinogre. There is much more to be said about the Zinogre. I've probably talked about Zinogre 1,000 times already. I've made so many Zinogre videos, it's a little ridiculous. So I'm going to refer to to those videos because essentially he's been the same monster for a very long time. He has been in the game for a couple of generations now, literally 2. So there's not a whole lot changing between his initial drop off and where he is currently. So with that being said, the videos that I will refer to are still relevant, and I implore you to check them out. The videos, you can press them, well, if you press the screen, there's a little that little eye thing. You can like click on that and it'll send you a couple of these here videos. But with that being said, if anything, I'll just probably put it in the description, one of the 2. It's kind of hard to do the eye thing because YouTube Studio's stupid, but whatever. Regardless, it's been your boy Dak908. Thank you guys so much for watching. The next video will be an Elder Dragon because I full on believe we are completely done with regular monsters for now, and we're going to do one more Elder Dragon and then maybe a trio of Elder Dragons. Wink, wink, hint, hint. That's enough in and of itself. And then we're going to wrap that up and we're going to move right over to Deviants because I want to get all this stuff done before Iceborne drops because I got a lot of Iceborne stuff to do. With that being said, it's been your boy. Thanks so much for coming and kicking it with me today. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Take care.